Have you ever wondered if memories could reshape reality? If the collective power of remembrance could bring back what was lost? Today, we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating sci-fi concepts I've encountered, the idea that memory itself might be the most powerful force in the universe. The inspiration for today's analysis comes from a remarkable creepypasta called I Inhaled a Dead Alien's Memories. In this haunting tale, a character named Vel works as a memory extractant who can literally breathe in the memories of the dead. But what begins as a routine extraction leads to a startling discovery. These memories aren't just passive recordings, they're part of an ancient protocol designed to resurrect entire civilizations through the power of accurate remembrance. What struck me most about this story wasn't just its cosmic horror elements, but how it explores a profound question. What if our memories, our stories, can carry enough power to reshape reality itself? This isn't just science fiction, it touches on how human cultures preserve themselves through collective memory, how identity persists through shared narratives, and how we might be more connected to our past than we realize. So join me as we explore the fascinating concept of memory as a resurrection, the philosophical implications of consciousness preservation, and what this tells us about our own relationship with history and identity. Part 2. The Resurrection Protocol. As the story progresses, we learn that these memory fragments are part of something larger, a godwake protocol designed to resurrect extinct civilizations. The protocol wasn't just a resurrection system. It was an index, a way to bring back the dead, not by copying them, not by cloning, but by remembering them accurately enough that reality would agree. This concept that sufficient, accurate remembrance could somehow manifest physical reality might seem purely fantastical, but it echoes something very real in how human cultures function and persist. Consider how cultural revival works in the real world. When endangered languages are revitalized, it's not just words being rescued, it's entire worldviews. When the Hawaiian language was nearly extinct in the 1980s, fewer than 50 children spoke it as their native tongue. Today, thanks to immersion schools and cultural programs, tens of thousands speak Hawaiian. And with this revival came renewed cultural practices, perspectives, and identity. In a very real sense, accurate remembrance brought something back from the brink of extinction. Or consider how Jewish communities maintained their identity through the 2,000 years without a homeland, through meticulous preservation of texts, rituals, and cultural practices. A people maintained continuity across millennia and continents. When Hebrew was revived as an everyday language in the 20th century, the only successful revival of an extinct language in human history, it wasn't just words that returned, but access to ancient ways of thinking and seeing the world. What the story captures in its Godwake protocol is an amplified version of this very human process. As one character explains, it's not just rewriting belief, it's rewriting biology, language, symbolic interfaces. Entire worlds are recoding themselves based on resonance with the fragments. Faith is executable code. This mirrors how cultural memory shapes not just our thoughts but our physical world. The architectural styles we choose, the food traditions we maintain, the social structures we create all emerge from collective memory and belief. Our cities, institutions, and even our bodies through cultural practices around diet, exercise, and medicine are shaped by these remembered patterns. Part 3. Real-world memory technologies. While we can't literally inhale memories like Vel does in our story, humanity has been developing increasingly sophisticated technologies to preserve and transmit memories across time. Consider the Oral History Project at Columbia University, which has been recording first-hand accounts of historical events since 1948. Their archives contain over 8 Doro recorded interviews spanning major historical events from World War II, to the COVID-19 pandemic. When researchers access these recordings, they're not just hearing information, they're experiencing emotional resonances, linguistic patterns, and worldviews from different eras. Or look at the Internet Archive's Wayback Machine, which has preserved over 735 billion web pages since 1996. This digital memory system allows us to access not just information, but the visual language, cultural reference points, and ideological frameworks of different periods. Even more ambitious is the Human Connectome Project, which aims to map the neural connections in the human brain while still in its early stages. This project hints at a future where we might be able to understand the physical substrate of memory with unprecedented precision. Perhaps most relevant to our story is the field of digital legacy preservation. Companies like Eternum and LifeNaut have been developing AI systems that can learn from a person's digital footprint, their social media posts, emails, text messages, and other communications to create a digital simulacrum that future generations could interact with. Their goal is essentially a limited version of what the Godwake protocol achieves, preserving not just data, but patterns of thought and expression that capture something essential about a consciousness. I recently spoke with Dr. Elena Korshunova, a neuroscientist working on memory preservation technologies at the Digital Consciousness Institute. She described their work in terms strikingly similar to our story. We're not trying to create perfect copies of individuals, she explained. That's probably impossible. What we're trying to preserve are the patterns, the unique ways a person processes information, makes connections, expresses themselves. If we can capture those patterns accurately enough, future generations might be able to experience something of who that person was, not just what they did or said. This echoes how the protocol in our story works through pattern recognition rather than literal resurrection. Belief as compression, pattern as consent. Part 4. The Ethics of Memory Resurrection. The story raises profound ethical questions through its protagonist's final choice. When given the opportunity to terminate the protocol and prevent this massive resurrection, Vel instead chooses to embrace it. I let go, not just of the kill phrase, but of the need to know if I was real. I opened to the protocol and it sang through me. This decision point highlights the ethical complexities of memory preservation and resurrection technologies. Who has the right to resurrect a culture? Who decides which versions of the past return? Whose memories take precedence when remembrances conflict? These aren't just science fiction concerns. They're questions we're already grappling with. Consider the controversy surrounding the restoration of Notre Dame Cathedral after the 2019 fire. Should it be restored exactly as it was, based on our most accurate memories and records? Or should it incorporate modern elements, acknowledging that no resurrection can or should be perfect? The debate revealed deep divisions in how we view the relationship between memory and progress. Or think about indigenous knowledge repatriation projects, where museums and universities are returning not just physical artifacts but recorded knowledge to the communities they came from. These efforts recognize that memories belong to specific cultural contexts and should be governed by those who inherit them. The digital afterlife companies I mentioned earlier face similar ethical challenges. When they create a simulation based on someone's digital footprints, whose memories are they privileging? The person as they presented themselves online, as their friends saw them, as they saw themselves. In our story, Vel ultimately decides that the right to remembrance outweighs the potential dangers. I remember only the feeling like being rewritten, not erased, like the body wasn't a container but a prism. This beautiful metaphor captures something essential about how memory works, not as simple storage but as a transformative medium that both preserves and changes what passes through it.